And now to the South American nation of Peru. Chinese leader Xi Jinping will unveil a Beijing-funded megaport in Peru later today.
Why would the US be so worried about a new port in Peru? Simple, Chanqui is more than just a port. This $3.5 billion megaproject backed by China could redefine power and trade in the Americas. But, just a month from its grand opening, the project's future hangs in the balance. So, what's really at stake here? Why is this causing such a stir between the US and China, and what could it mean for global trade? Let's dig into the surprising details. Before we anchor into the Chanqui mega port story, be sure to subscribe to Digital Discoveries for more insights into game-changing mega projects from around the world. The purpose of the port. To understand the reasons, first, you have to understand why the Chanqui megaport is even being built, and what's the backstory here. To put it simply, this port is part of China's grand plan to expand its trade routes and influence across the globe. Located about 70 kilometers, 43.5 miles, north of Lima, Chanqui is about to become one of South America's most strategic ports, thanks to a $3.5 billion investment led by COSCO Shipping, which is a Chinese state-owned shipping giant. This megaport is designed to handle huge cargo ships that previously had to dock in places like Mexico or California. For Peru, the Chanqui port means a direct, streamlined route for exports to Asia, which will cut transit time to China by almost 2 weeks compared to the Panama Canal route. So, how did this all start? Back in 2019, COSCO made a deal with Volcan, which is a Peruvian mining company. They agreed to give COSCO a 60% stake in the project while Volcan retained 40%. The goal was to create a gateway between South America and Asia, boosting trade and strengthening economic ties between the two continents. The Peruvian government, keen to stimulate the economy, jumped on board with the plan, seeing this port as a golden opportunity to attract investment, create jobs, and boost exports. After all, Peru has a wealth of natural resources, like minerals, agriculture, and fisheries, that can gain easier access to Asian markets through Chanqui. But this project does not just promise economic growth, it can also make Peru a major port in global trade routes. The port will be able to handle ultra-large container ships with depths of up to 60 feet, 18.29 meters, which is a first for the Pacific coast of South America. Plus, with 11 berths in the container terminal and 4 additional berths for bulk cargo, Chanqui could help relieve some of the congestion at other ports in the region. It is pivotal not only for Peru but also for its neighboring countries like Brazil, Colombia, and Ecuador, which could use Chanqui as a hub to ship goods to Asia. However, the story does not stop at economic development. There is much more happening now that the opening date is inching closer. The most surprising part of this project is that the Chinese hidden tactic. COSCO managed to secure exclusive control over the Chanqui port. You see, originally, the Peruvian government didn't intend for COSCO to have complete control over the port's operations. They thought COSCO would hold a majority stake, sure, but they didn't anticipate that the Chinese company would secure exclusive operating rights. So, how did this happen? According to the Peruvian National Port Authority, it was all due to the fine print on the contract. That's right. Peru's officials somehow overlooked a critical detail that granted COSCO sole operating rights over the port for 30 years, with the potential for extension. This exclusive clause has been a huge win for COSCO, giving it a monopoly on one of South America's most strategically located ports. To give you some context, COSCO is no stranger to this kind of setup. They already control or have majority stakes in key European ports like Greece's Piraeus and Spain's Valencia, not to mention ports in Hamburg and Rotterdam. By gaining control of these infrastructure hubs, China has expanded its economic influence across Europe. And now, with Chanqui, they are doing the same thing in South America. This exclusivity clause is causing some serious tension in Peru. When the Peruvian government finally realized what had happened, they tried to roll back COSCO's exclusive rights, arguing that the National Port Authority, APN, didn't actually have the authority to grant such terms in the first place. However, COSCO is not budging now. They have made it clear that if Peru tries to strip them of their exclusivity, they will pull out of the project entirely. That means losing $3.5 billion in investments, which will be a devastating blow to Peru's economy. And the controversy does not end there. COSCO's control over Chanqi has raised concerns about potential Chinese influence on Peru's economy and resources. In fact, the Peruvian government's recent efforts to amend the port system law actually solidified COSCO's exclusivity by automatically granting private ports a 30-year exclusivity period. This whole situation has left many wondering if this was really a mistake or just another example of China's sharp negotiation tactics. For Peru, handing over full control could hit their economy and independence harder than expected. Now they are getting cold feet, and that too when the port is near its opening date. That brings us to the questions: when is this port going to open and in which construction phase is it currently in? Construction so far on the port. The Chanqi megaport has been under intense development since the project started in 2019, and it is already nearing completion. The port is designed to be a massive, multipurpose complex, and COSCO has not spared any expense in making it happen. They have built docks, breakwaters, piers, and a 1.8-kilometer (1.12 miles) tunnel that connects the warehouses directly to the port entrance. This tunnel alone speaks to the scale of the project, as it is built to speed up cargo handling and maximize efficiency. This will help Chanqi stand out as a hub for large-scale shipping. As of now, the port has two main terminals. One is a container terminal with 11 berths, and the other is a 4-berth terminal designed for bulk cargo, general cargo, and roll-on, roll-off vessels. This setup will allow Chanqi to accommodate ultra-large container ships, which can carry up to 24,000 containers each. By comparison, most ports in South America currently lack the depth and space to handle such massive ships. This makes Chanqi a unique port in this region. The port's size and depth mean it can serve as a consolidation hub, gathering smaller shipments from nearby countries like Colombia, Ecuador, and Chile, and then transporting them to Asia in larger vessels. The official inauguration is scheduled for mid-November. Even Chinese President Xi Jinping is expected to attend this event. This launch marks a major milestone, not only for Peru but for the entire region's trade landscape. During the initial, soft launch phase, the port will be able to handle 2 direct shipping routes to Shanghai, reducing transit time across the Pacific from 35 to just 23 days. This shorter, more efficient route is a huge deal for exporters, especially those in Peru's agriculture and mining industries. So, who stands to gain from this megaport? First of all, local businesses, especially those involved in exports, are thrilled. The port is set to open up new markets in Asia for products like blueberries, avocados, minerals, and more. Even Brazil, which is a major exporter of soybeans, is eyeing Chanqi as a faster route to its biggest buyer, China. But there is also the risk that COSCO's control could lead to a dominance of Chinese companies, which might edge out Peruvian businesses in their own market. For now, though, the benefits look promising, and the grand opening has everyone on edge to see how this will all play out. The power play, China versus the USA. But the one country not happy with this project's opening is the USA. You see, for China, Chanqi represents more than just a profitable infrastructure project. It is part of their plan to establish a stronghold in Latin America, a region that has long been in the US's sphere of influence. By building a megaport here, China gains a direct route for its exports and imports, particularly for essential resources like minerals and agricultural products, which South America is rich in. The US, however, is not thrilled. American officials see Chanqi as part of China's larger plan to expand its influence in Latin America through strategic infrastructure projects. The head of the U.S. Southern Command, General Laura Richardson, has recently voiced her concerns, saying that China's control over the port could make it easier for them to extract resources from the region. The U.S. is urging Peru to reconsider COSCO's exclusive rights because they see it as a possible threat to the balance of power in the Americas. The concerns are not unfounded, though. China has already been steadily increasing its presence across South America. It has been actively investing in mining, telecommunications, and now ports. And Changi is not just any port, it is the first Chinese-operated logistics hub on the Pacific coast of South America. From a strategic standpoint, this gives China a foothold in the region that the U.S. finds troubling. Changi's new megaport could redefine trade routes and power dynamics in Latin America, drawing the world's attention to Peru's shores. But will this port start a resource war between the US and China? Maybe. The US is already uneasy about China's influence, especially after seeing similar moves in Europe. With Changi, China gains a foothold in South America's resources, and that's enough to make Washington nervous. Looks like all signs are pointing one way. Changi will be the opening move in a new era of geopolitical rivalry in Latin America. What do you think? Will this port spark a new rivalry between China and the US, or will it transform trade in unexpected ways? Tell us your thoughts in the comments below. And if you're into exploring the bold moves shaping global architecture, design, and construction, make sure to subscribe to Digital Discoveries. There's much more to come, don't miss out. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.